Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you're doing well. And I am Michael Halfhill, one of the pastors at the Piedmont Park Seventh-day Adventist Church in Lincoln, Nebraska. And just wanted to share a thought with you today to kind of encourage you through your week. And with it being October, and this is the time of year where people start to think about scary stuff and get excited about scary things. Not really my cup of tea, but I thought, you know what? Why don't we look at a scary story in the Bible today? Did you know there's scary stories in there? If you didn't, I'm going to share one with you. And maybe you don't think of this as scary. Maybe you think of it as a sad story, but I think it's kind of scary. So it's in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, but I'm going to look at it in Luke today. Luke chapter 18. It says, "Now a certain ruler asked him," being Jesus, saying, "Good teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" He wanted to know how he could be saved. And Jesus says, hey, keep the commandments, right? Don't commit adultery, don't murder, don't steal, honor your father and mother. He quotes some of the commandments. Now, of course, he's not saying these are the ones to do and you can leave the rest. He's meaning keep the commandments. And the guy said, "All these things I have kept from my youth." So in his thinking, he had perfectly kept the commandments, probably thinking that he kept all the laws from the Old Testament, from the Pentateuch. And so Jesus helps him realize that you're missing the point. Verse 22, "So when Jesus heard these things, he said to him," so now that he heard what his reply was, he says, "You still lack one thing. Sell all that you have and distribute to the poor, and you'll have treasure in heaven. Come and follow me." So Jesus gives him an invitation, but Jesus knew what his problem was. Even though this guy could look at it and say, yep, I'm doing all these things, Jesus knew his problem was money, possessions. Verse 23, "But when he heard this, he became very sorrowful, for he was very rich." And so we have this ruler, Luke calls him. Matthew, I think, is the one who calls him young, this rich young ruler who walks away from Jesus, which is, of course, sad, but it's also scary, too, to think that we could come to Jesus, we could hear from Jesus, and then he could call us to follow him, and because of the stuff in our life, maybe not just material possessions, but just the other things in life, too, that someone just turns away from Jesus and walks away. Oh, it's a sad story, but it's a scary story too, because it could happen to any of us, right? Jesus goes on and says that when he saw that he became sorrowful, he said, "How hard is it for the rich to enter heaven?" Which, of course, spooked the disciples, who were like, how can anybody be saved? And Jesus said, well, with humans, it's impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And so, why is this so scary for me? Because I hate the thought of anybody walking away from Jesus, receiving that call to come and follow him, and they count the cost and they think, nah, the things of this world are more important than following Jesus. To me, that is so scary that could happen to myself, to my church, to people I love. And so I hold on to that verse where Jesus says, yes, for humans, it's not possible. Like, you can't be saved by having riches. You can't be saved even by doing good things. It takes God doing what he can do, which is what Jesus did when he came to die on the cross for all of us. So I hope when you hear Jesus speaking to you from his word, I hope that you listen. I hope that I listen. And I hope when Jesus calls us to let go of something that we think is important, that we think is precious, I hope we're willing to let go of anything so that we can cling to Jesus and follow him where he leads us. And if we'll do that, it's not a scary story at all. It's a beautiful story with a wonderful ending. Friends, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you'll join us this coming Saturday here at Piedmont Park, both in person and online. We'll be continuing our sermon series on the three angels' messages from Revelation. Exciting sermons we have coming up, exciting worship, so I hope that you'll join us. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, everyone, and let's do our best to take care of everyone.